First story. Well, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case, and the burden of proof was easier for him there. The Sun had to actually prove that it was true. And the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence against Amber. So what did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case. That was in the UK case. In the UK case when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost. But here's the thing. You were able to get some evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of evidence. But in point of fact, the jury rejected it. You argued in your closing arguments that if they found even one instance of abuse, and it did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to fine for Amber Heard, and they didn't. And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name. And so what basically they did here is demonize her. And they were able to suppress the medical records, which were very, very significant because they showed a pattern going all the way back to 2012 of Amber reporting this to her therapist. For example, we had significant amount of texts, including from Mr. Depp's assistants, saying when I told him he kicked you, he cried, he's so sorry that didn't come in. Is there any other way to interpret this verdict, though, that this jury, for whatever reason, and I hear you want some of the evidence that they didn't hear listening to Amber Heard, did not believe a single word? And that's because she was demonized here. A number of things were allowed in this court that should not have been allowed, and it caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment, so the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages. It stopped at November 2020, which is when the judgment came down in the UK. Let me ask you about social media in this case. Unlike any celebrity case certainly I've ever covered or ever seen, social media was a part of this. And it was incredibly lopsided and vitriolic against Amber Heard. Do you think that had an effect on the case? Absolutely. Do you think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be there admonished every single day. Don't look at it. Do you think they didn't see it? She wasn't able to subpoena many people that could have made the case for her. As such, they are asking that a new trial be held in California so that those people can actually come out to make their cases for her. However, to anyone that has ever been